Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to look at the Celtics versus the Cavs. Last week I did a video looking at it from the Celtics on offense perspective and what they tried to do to attack the Cavs. However, the Cavs actually ended up winning this game with a very good offensive performance on their own. We're going to look at what the Cavs did to target the Celtics, in particular to try and attack what the Celtics were doing on defense and how that impacted the game. Let's go. The first big takeaway we want to have is something the Celtics chose to do on defense. We're watching Al Horford in particular right here, and the reason we're watching him is because he's guarding Evan Mobley. From the beginning, the Celtics essentially said, we're going to put our quote-unquote rim protector, Al Horford, on Evan Mobley, and we're just going to help off. And Evan Mobley has been shooting the ball well this year. We can see how Al Horford comes down aggressively. However, the Celtics just said, prove it, essentially. We're going to put a rim protector, not let Donovan Mitchell, not let Darius Garland get downhill. Instead, force Evan Mobley to shoot on the perimeter if that's what you're going to do as an offense. They were aggressive with this early in the game. So as soon as Darius Garland's driving right here, Al Horford, what's his role? He's like, not going to guard Evan Mobley. I need to make sure Darius Garland doesn't get a layup. And so this is one of the trade-offs that Boston is essentially trying to provide, is that they're saying a layup at the rim is going to be more efficient than a semi-contested Evan Mobley three. Then as we jump ahead to the fourth quarter, we see the exact same thing. Boston didn't deviate from this game plan. In fact, they also used it to include it with Okoro as well. And so we're going to look at their stats here in a second. But so this whole perspective, essentially they're saying we're not going to guard these two players. We're going to provide aggressive help. And essentially the Cavs have to try and counter that some way. And one of the easiest way to counter that is you got to take those two players and essentially use their athletic gifts to go get rebounds as well. And so that is one thing the Cavs clearly talked about, is trying to get them downhill, trying to get them aggressively anytime a shot goes up, or trying to get one-on-one mismatches. And so right here we can see, here we have an advantage with the Cavs, as in Mobley is bigger than Derek White. Jason Tatum says, I'm just going to leave Okoro and leave him out there on the perimeter, pass out. And this is what the Celtics are saying. They're saying, yeah, okay, we'll allow that shot. That's a risk we're willing to take. And then the Cavs are like, well, we have this size advantage, or they're not going to guard us. We might as well try and get the rebounds. And Mobley's able to get the rebound, keep possessions alive. But we essentially just see the same concept highlighted is Darius Garland, close out. However, on the drive, you got help coming. Don't worry about it. Okay? We can ignore 35 and we can ignore 4 and essentially make it much more difficult for Cleveland to get anything, either a good three-point shooter, a great three-point shooter shooting a three, or a layup at the rim. And we can see this whole possession, aside from that rebound, it ended up with pretty not great shot for the Cavs. And so what does Evan Mobley have to do? He has to go get another rebound. Like, that's the whole goal, is you got to have players that contribute one way or the other. So Okoro and Mobley, you got to make your physical presence known if they're going to play off you like that. And so I thought this possession actually highlighted the whole concept. The absolute best is this is what the Celtics are trying to do fundamentally. And so whether the Cavs are able to essentially live with the idea of aggressive helping off and trying to play for rebounds, I don't know. I'm curious about that, because obviously the shots in this possession did not look great. And so this is the final possession we're actually going to see of this same concept. And so one of the big things is the Cavs, in about 3 minutes of game time, they actually decided to take those two players off the court. Like Mobley, Okoro, and Jarrett Allen didn't play because those are the ones that don't shoot threes and didn't provide spacing. So again, we see Okoro left open. They're living with that shot. And like Evan Mobley, you're going to be near the rim. You might as well go try and get a rebound. However, it again resulted in not a great possession for the Cavs. Okay, so then we get to the main concept the Cavs provided, or the Cavs went after to try and get advantages on offense. So this is still earlier in the fourth where Mobley's still in the game. I think Okoro is still in the game too. And so, over here. And so the concept that the Cavs wanted is they wanted to put the worst defender for the Celtics involved in a Donovan Mitchell ball screen, or Darius Garland, but Donovan Mitchell in particular, and that is Hauser. Hauser's going to be the slowest player on the floor. He's clearly a three-point shooter. And so they're trying to get him one-on-one with Donovan Mitchell is essentially what they want. You got the ball screen out there. And the reason that this isn't a layup, because he had Hauser beat for sure, is because Al Horford is helping off. One of the things that the Cavs saw, and we're like, we need to change that so we can get the Donovan Mitchell layups. That being said, Donovan Mitchell's still a really good player, shoots a little floater right here and gets a good look. And so this is actually one of the trade-offs for the Celtics is, do you keep Hauser in because he's a good shooter and realize that the Cavs are going to target him on defense, or do you be willing to trade that and put a better defender in there, but maybe not quite as good a three-point shooter? Okay, we got the switch. We got Donovan Mitchell one-on-one with Hauser. That's exactly what they want. And so now the issue is there going to be help when he tries to drive? So Donovan Mitchell goes for the attack, and Hauser actually does a pretty good job. Gets a little off balance, and Donovan Mitchell is able to create the separation. And that's the threat. Like, Donovan Mitchell is such a good driver downhill that Hauser wants to essentially make sure he doesn't give that away. That being said, Donovan Mitchell is just going to be more quick twitch, faster, and is able to create this separation. And he's such a good shooter that you don't want to give that shot as well. Like, a very difficult situation for Hauser in that situation. Then a more nuanced concept from the Cavs. I really like this a lot. So first off, we get the switch. We get Donovan Mitchell and Hauser. So there's two things going on at play. One is the fact that Mitchell's on Hauser. And two is 35 Okoro is the one they've been sagging off of. So you can see Derek White all the way down here. So you have to try and prevent that in two ways. You have to try and find a way to essentially manufacture spacing. 35 has to be able to have some gravity in some way. And you have to essentially be able to punish them if they help. So Donovan Mitchell is going to, first off, give space a little bit of time to react. Right here, we have the shooters are 1, 2, 3. 35, we see this often with like Gary Payton. He's going to set a screen to create an opening for a shooter, theoretically. Also, you're going to have Darius Garland move away over here to create distance so that if Jaylen Brown helps over, there's longer distance to close out. You have more likely chance of getting the open three. These two concepts combined put Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in a very difficult situation. Jason Tatum knows that Derek White is all the way over here. So he knows that he has to be responsible for this shooter. So essentially both of these players. So because Okoro is going to come set this screen, Jason Tatum has to essentially choose to go around that screen to take away Wade. Now the difficult thing is here, normally the Celtics would just rotate and he would be the responsible one for Darius Garland. They would rotate around. But because you set the screen on the opposite side, it creates an open look for Darius Garland. And this is a very clever concept that the Cavs went to. I don't know how much it was structured. I'm assuming this is after a timeout. But that is very, very high level basketball from them. And then actually jumping back to the first quarter, I just wanted to show this real concept. Like, this was obviously also really, really well done by the Cavs. And so we're going to see them take advantage of the exact same concept of, one, the Celtics switching, and two, helping off of non-shooters. And so dribble handoff's going to happen here. We're watching essentially Darius Garland has come flashing over here. Al Horford, we know, is going to be the help, so he's going to cheat off a little bit. And so Evan Mobley is going to set a nice little, essentially kind of like a flare screen off of Darius Garland's go screen. So the issue is Derek White has to sprint this way, and then when they set this go screen, he has to decide whether he's going to stay with Strus or he's going to go with Garland. And so that obviously puts a lot of strain on him. And then not only that, Evan Mobley is going to set a screen on whatever miscommunication happens, whether it was Derek White that went this way or Jaylen Brown that went this way. We can see first off slight miscommunication there. But Darius Garland ends up with another clean look at a three, which causes the flyby, and then a great look to the inside and a that's a tremendous pass. Like, that is another great set from Cleveland. Shout out to their coaches. And then finally, we get to the last few possessions. The first thing we want to look at is we got Wade, Garland, Hunter, Strus, Mitchell. We have no Mobley and no Okoro and no Jarrett Allen. Everyone on the floor is a fairly good shooter and a high volume shooter. And one of the big questions I had is, like, is Evan Mobley and Okoro, are they actually that bad of shooters? And the reality is no. They shoot the ball 36% and 39%. Like, that's good percentage. The issue is they shoot it at a very low volume. So we can see of all the Cavs players, they are far and away the low volume that get decent minutes. And so the Celtics are saying, well, is it really a good shooting percentage if you don't shoot the ball ever? And they're trying to take that gamble. And so the Cavs are going to have some questions to answer who they're going to play in crunch time of these close games in the playoffs. So again, what are we going? We go Mitchell, Hauser. We say that is the advantage we want and give spacing, and Hauser cannot stay in front of Mitchell. And we can punish them with help now because we have people that are not afraid to shoot and shoot the ball extremely well. One thing I really like from the Celtics right here is as Jason Tatum kind of like gets in here to be help a little bit, they simply switch and Hauser goes out here. This isn't something they discuss, that's kind of on the fly, and so that's pretty high level. As the ball gets swung around, Wade is going to set another one of these ghost screens. Shout out to the channel again. And as Wade goes over here, it puts him in a difficult situation. Derek White is like, are we switching? Are we not? And that little hesitation gives Garland space to attack downhill. And now we no longer have any help because we have shooters around the floor. And Darius Garland gets a great look at the rim. Even if he misses it, it's still a really good look. All right, so coming down on offense, we should know this is what the Cavs want. They want Hauser. Boom, bring him up. Donovan Mitchell says, let me attack that man. Okay, pushes a little bit, no foul call. I like that. All right, space the floor out, and they're going to attack downhill. And so then the question is, do the Celtics provide help? Do they not provide help? And you can see Al Horford does help over a little bit, but Hauser got beat, and Al Horford can't commit as much. And so Donovan Mitchell gets a great look at the rim. And then finally, the possession to ice the game. Boston down 5. They need a stop and a score. What are they going to do? They said, Darius Garland, you can have this opportunity this time. We're going to get you Sam Hauser, the one, the only, or we're going to let you attack him. Okay, runs off the screen. Love it. And so, that like Mobley's in, so you're going to have help down here. So Darius Garland's like, let me just beat you with the speed and create separation as we saw Donovan Mitchell earlier do, and use that to get a good look. And his speed is no match for Sam Hauser, and that's a great look. Mid-range, probably the Celtics are okay with that, but at this point in the game, that is not a shot you want to give up to Darius Garland, and Cleveland goes on to win this game. We saw some very interesting concept by the Cavs. I really like the idea of attacking the switches of Sam Hauser. I like the idea of them situationally substituting, putting better shooters in to give Garland and Mitchell space to work. And I love their concept of attacking the ghost screens to get open threes. That was absolutely beautiful. If you enjoyed this, feel free to like and subscribe. I also did a video from the Celtics perspective on offense. Feel free to check that out. I'll link it right here. But most importantly, have a blessed rest of your day.